People gathered in Yarmouth Saturday to protest a planned migrant shelter on the Cape. Came just days after Governor Healy deployed the National Guard to support migrants who are now seeking to build a life in Massachusetts. Here's WBZ's Laura Hafley.
As the Massachusetts migrant crisis worsens, officials tell WBZ shelter volunteers are overwhelmed by the increased demand for emergency family housing.
Maura Healy has declared a state of emergency over the migrant housing crisis. She says the number of families living in shelters is surging. Chris Tanaka is live in the Satellite Center tonight. And Chris, by making this emergency declaration, the governor is asking for the federal government's help.
Hundreds of millions of dollars are being spent on the emergency shelter crisis as people continue to arrive in Massachusetts for a chance at housing. The first report that came out in the middle of December showed the state had spent $205 million on the crisis. In the latest report that came out this week, it states that Massachusetts has spent $325 million.
Meanwhile, over in Massachusetts, Governor Maura Healy declaring a state of emergency due to emergency shelters there reaching capacity with migrants. Officials say there are almost 5,600 families and over 20,000 individuals in Bay State shelters. This is 80% higher than this time last year. Governor Healy's administration is now asking Massachusetts residents to help with the crisis.
Woburn, among the dozens of communities housing newly arrived migrant families in emergency shelter hotels. The mayor concerned it's not sustainable.
It has exploded. They're expecting 1,000 new migrants coming to the Commonwealth every month.
The mayor says the state is housing 150 families across 5 hotel shelters in Woburn.
The mayor was completely caught off guard. He says this isn't the first time homeless families were dropped off at that hotel during the pandemic, but the mayor says they will definitely need financial aid from the state to care for these new arrivals.
Migrants sleeping on the floor of Logan Airport and a community center cleared out to be an emergency shelter for hundreds. How did we get here?
A Brookline family is opening their doors to a migrant family that once slept on the floor at Logan Airport, and they're encouraging other people to help out in the same way during this housing crisis. It all comes as Boston leaders worry about opening up more shelter space in the city and where that space will be. WBZ's Brandon Truitt is live in Brookline with the growing divide in this migrant debate. His story all new at 8. Brandon?
Continuing coverage now on the state of emergency in Massachusetts. For the first time, we're getting a look inside the hotels where the state is housing migrants. 22 News reporter Alana Flood joins us live in studio. Alana, you went into one of those hotels today.
Yes, Nick, I did. I went into the Clarion Hotel in West Springfield and had the opportunity to meet some of the families who have traveled thousands of miles with children in tow to get to the United States.
A closer look now at the migrant crisis affecting the state of Massachusetts and specific communities here in the western part of the state.
22 News I-Team reporter Alana Flood is live in the studio with a continued look at the migrant experience in West Springfield. Nick, Ciara, I got exclusive access to the Clarion Hotel in West Springfield to speak with migrants about how they arrived in the U.S. and how they are starting their new lives here.
Migrants sleeping on the floor at Logan Airport. The emergency shelter crisis spilling over into public view. Now the Milnea Cass Recreational Complex in Roxbury under consideration as an overflow shelter site.
We're continuing to evaluate sites. The Cass is one of those sites. It's a state site, and we are grateful to cities and towns that have stepped up around the Commonwealth in this time of need.